This is study objective 4-3. What we're looking at here is the steps in the accounting cycle. Now back in chapter 3 we learned the basic steps in the accounting cycle, but in chapter 4 we're going to be adding on a few more steps. This will complete the entire accounting cycle. There won't be any more steps to add after this. Look at the first 4 steps. They should look familiar from chapter 3. Now what we're adding in this chapter are the adjusting entries in step 5 and also the closing entries in step 8. So this video and the next one also will talk about adjusting entries. Adjusting entries are made in the journal and posted to the ledger on the last day of the accounting period, right before financial statements are prepared. If the financial statements are prepared only at year end, only annually, then you only have to do financial statements once a year. But if you want to prepare financial statements monthly or quarterly, then you'll need to go through the adjusting entry process monthly or quarterly. It's always on the last day of the accounting period, right before financial statements are made. Some accounts need to be adjusted in order to be sure that the revenues and the expenses are in the right time period. We want to make sure we get a good cutoff at the end of our time period. The sheet that I just showed you and also this one here are posted at our e-learning site. And this one in particular you might want to print and have it by your side when you're doing your homework. For many of the homework problems, you might read it and go, okay, what do I do? Where do I start? If you look back at this sheet here, every time you need to make an adjusting entry, I'd like you to try to figure out which of the 4 categories the entry would fit into. And then you can just follow the pattern and create an adjusting entry that's similar to the one you see on the sheet. So if you have this sheet by your side, I think it'll really help you when you're going to do your homework. Anyway, there are 4 categories or types of adjusting entries, and you will eventually need to know the name of each of the 4 types of adjusting entries and the definition of each of those types. On this sheet, we're going to assume that we have a company that only makes financial statements and their annual report just once a year. So let's take December 31 as the end of our company's fiscal year, and that means that adjusting entries only need to be made every December 31. So this column right here shows the December 31 adjusting entry for each of the different categories of adjustments. In the next video, we're going to go through each of the categories and we'll look at a brief example of each one. Then I've got another handout posted for you at our e-learning site to give you some additional examples so you get lots of practice with this concept.